say amplified. Okay, so that's me. A little bit about me. I do private web development and for clients, so by my own company. I also owned a small used bookstore, independent used bookstore for the last 10 years. I just closed in November to focus full-time on web development. And I do small business consulting for what's called the Small Business Development Center down in LA. But you guys, if you are up here in Reno, I'm assuming there is one actually in every state. So there is one here as well. And if you want help, assistance, free assistance, it's actually paid for by your taxes, so it's prepaid assistance. You can go there, get help with legal stuff, get help with marketing, get help with accounting, all that stuff that's the tricky stuff that you don't necessarily know how to do. Definitely check that out. Small Business Development Center, it's through the SBA. So I do that, and I work with them and teach small business owners about web development in general, primarily WordPress, because I basically like to convert everybody into WordPress. So that's about me, and I Twitter there. Oh, and I also am a regular on a show called the WP Water Cooler, which is every Monday, and it's recorded as well. It's a live broadcast show where we all kind of jibber-jabber about WordPress. It's pretty fun. You can learn some new things. Okay, enough about that. Let's talk about this. So how do you build an awesome WordPress website? I am so glad you asked, because coincidentally, that's what I'm going to be telling you about. Well, guess what? You guys are already here, and so you guys are already way ahead of the game, because WordPress is half the battle, as opposed to knowing, if anyone knows, that's a G.I. Joe graphic. But anyway, I made that in Photoshop. Okay, so WordPress is half the battle. I spend a lot of my time working with small businesses, trying to explain to them what WordPress is, trying to explain to them why they need to use it, why Website Tonight, GoDaddy's not a sponsor at this one, right? Okay, why Website Tonight is not really going to make your life easy in building a small business website. In fact, you're going to be like pulling out your hair and stabbing at your eyeballs and that sort of a thing. So you're already here, you already know this, so I'm not going to spend any time convincing you about why WordPress is so awesome, because we're all in agreement on that already, right? Yes, okay, cool. All right, so basically, an awesome website has to do one thing at the very baseline. It needs to at least exist. And that's why WordPress is one of the best things, because you can really get it going really quickly. And we're going to work through basically some of the steps of building an awesome website in general, and well, an awesome WordPress website specifically. So, step one, installing WordPress. I'm not going to go detailed into installing WordPress. If you don't know how to install WordPress, there is an awesome workshop, hands-on workshop tomorrow. They will walk you through it hands-on, that's why it's a hands-on workshop. But they'll walk you through it step by step so you can all get it going. If you don't have that yet, I definitely recommend doing it. But there's different ways to do this. There's the easy way and then the hard way. And while personally I like to do things the hard way, as my friend Chris Lemma over there is always giving me a hard time about, I think small business owners should probably do it the easy way. And that's one of the beautiful things about WordPress is there is an easy way and you can do it that way. So the first thing you have to decide is what type of WordPress you're going for. And of course, there's basically three different options. There's WordPress.com, which we've all heard about. There's managed hosting, companies like WP Engine, Pagely, that sort of a thing. And then there's WordPress.org and your own self-hosted thing. And I like to draw the distinctions between those. I didn't actually used to ever recommend WordPress.com for businesses because they're not very expandable. You can't do, you can't add plugins, that sort of a thing. You're limited to their various themes, you can't extend it, but they have this new thing that they just introduced. So for $2.99 a year, they have like this business tier, which actually works out to like $29 a month or something like that. Math is not my strong suit. But anyway, they have this great thing where you can now choose all of the WordPress themes, you get hands-on support, you can do more stuff, and they're actually integrating more things like payments and that sort of thing into WordPress.com. So if you're just getting started, that's actually a really good option. And again, not something I used to recommend, but this new tier is really great because it turns out asking questions and getting answers back from dedicated WordPress people is super handy. So that's an option, and they handle all your updates, your backups, all that sort of a thing for you. So that's kind of like living in a condo. You basically have that. You don't have to worry about anything except for what's going on inside of your house. Then there's managed hosting, and managed hosting is kind of pricey. That's the only real problem with that. WP Engine starts at like $99 a month or something like that for your basic hosting, what you've got going on. So there's $29 for that. It's not as pricey as it used to be. It includes support as well. It handles all the updates for you, and they're optimized for things like speed and everything. And I like to kind of liken those to tract housing. So you can pretty much do whatever you want, but you've got like an HOA, and you have to like maybe not paint your house like pink or purple. Well, those are already kind of pink, but not purple, or like green, and you get fined, you know, if you like go outside the lines too much. So there's definitely some limitations that come with that, though a lot less than with something like, you know, a condo. And then there's WordPress.org, which is the awesomest software in the world, and that's when you host it yourself. It's free, but you have to support it yourself. You have to do all your updates and your backups, but you can do whatever you want with it. And literally, you can do whatever you want with it, and you can go to town on plugins, which is, incidentally, just a little foreshadowing what I'm going to talk about mostly today. And that's like being able to design your own house, and you can make it into whatever you want. And that house is super nice. I really like it. Anyway, okay, so if anyone wants to buy me a house. So we're talking about WordPress and installing that. So how do we do that? I want to do that again with the sparkles, the quick install button. This is the easy way. Most hosts at this point in time have quick install buttons. And you could go and set up your database, and you could go and FTP your files up and change your WP config file yourself. You could do all that. But you could also just go into the quick install button. Oh, sorry, hold on, wait. Yeah, you could do this. You could go into your quick install button, fill this out, install this, don't check that button, click that button, and then boom, you have a website just like that. Well, we're going to go back up here. But there's 3 things you need to remember. Wow, I just really wanted to make the sparkles happen again, that's all. You need to not use the auto upgrades when you're doing that. And that last year, when WordPress upgraded to 3.5, HostGator, you know, they did their auto upgrades. Well, it pretty much broke a lot of people's sites. And everyone's like, oh my God, my site's not working all of a sudden, or my editor's not working, or I can't do this. So there are some errors with that. So don't select the auto upgrade button when you're doing that. Also, do not use the WordPress, or the username admin. I mean, we say this, we talk about it all the time. Don't use admin. We also say these things about strong passwords. Hey, guess what? Don't do it, really. No, we're not kidding. If you haven't heard about the superbot, who's heard about the superbot and all the attacks? It's been all over the news. Like, there was even one article that talked about that zombie bots were coming for all the WordPress accounts. It was pretty funny. But they were doing what's called a brute force attack, and they were trying to get in based on using the username admin and all these variations of password, like, you know, password, or like 121212 or 11111. So don't use those, because people will know. And it's not like, oh, I can't remember that. It's like, you know, write it down. Or use an application password like 1Password. Or use the exact same password used somewhere else, but customize it. Put a WP at the end to remind you that it's your WordPress site. Do something. This is something I struggle with a lot of small business owners. They're like, I have too many passwords. Just change, I don't know what that is, but she likes it, so get that. Yeah, totally. All right, so I showed you this. You boom, boom, boom. You uncheck that button, you install, and then you go to this site and you log in. You're done. You've got a site. Like literally in 5 minutes. That's not the hard way. That's the easy way. You don't even have to do anything. So now what? You have a website. Awesome. So what are we going to talk about next? Themes, right? Themes. Yay, themes. Yes. Nope. We are not talking about themes. We are going to talk about step 2. And as I was just talking about, actually, no, that's step 3. I was going to jump ahead. So step 2, this is our nice fairway. By the way, I'm talking fast because they told me I only have 30 minutes, and I thought I had like 40. So I'm just going to jam through this and interrupt myself, which is going to really help. Okay, so we've got that going on. We've got to set up the shot, right? So you've got your basics going on. So first thing you need to do is get just the basics covered, the basic setup. We're going to change that name because when I set up the account, I was like, oh, I don't know what I want to call it. And then, of course, you have to change your tagline because that's showing up, right? And then you've got this whole thing going on where you've got, you know, blogs. It looks like a blog, and all your blogs are going to show up. And that's not businessy. That's bloggy. And we're not trying to be blogs. We're trying to be business because that's what this talk is about. So you go in here, and you go into your settings. And again, I'm not going to go through all of this stuff. I teach literally a 2-hour workshop where I go through all of what these are. And if you don't know what they are, that's awesome. Go tomorrow to the workshop, and they will tell you and work through that. So we're not going to do that today. So I'm just going to kind of assume some general knowledge here. So you go into your settings, and you change your stuff. You change your name. You change your title. You change your time code, you know, if you want to. You don't have to, but you can. And then you go into your writing. And then this is kind of funny. So I don't know why WordPress does this by default, but this has confused a lot of people that I work with. They're like making a list, they're like writing the number 8 with a parenthetical after it. And they're like, why does this keep turning into a happy face with sunglasses? I don't understand. It's because of this button right here. So I just like to tell people you need to uncheck that. Otherwise, you're going to get emoticons instead of some of your punctuation. So just FYI. And actually, there's a lot of little hidden stuff like that in WordPress. So you got to kind of poke around and see what all these things do, because WordPress is a friendly software and it wants you to smile. Dink. All right. So you go in there, and then under reading, we've got this main thing. And by default, there's one page set up in WordPress in the generic install. It's called sample page. So I'm just going to adopt that one and pretend that's what I want to be my home page. So you come in here, and instead of selecting your latest post, you select a status page. And I'm not going to worry about my post page, because when we're first getting started, I don't really usually recommend that people start to blog right away, because there's a lot of pressure involved in that, because you have to do it more than once. Otherwise, you need to take the dates off of your blogs. So you've got your front page right there, and you just select sample page. Boom. Automatically better. Now we're kind of shaping up, right? So now we've got a nice title, and this says a site about WordPress and bunnies. That's right, because that's what the site's going to be about. And then we have our sample page, and we're looking a lot more, website-y now. So now what? Themes! Yes, themes, right? We're all going to talk about themes? Not yet. No, not themes. But I know that you're all thinking about themes, and everyone wants to talk about themes. They're like, I don't like the gray. So newsflash, humans, we're a visual species. We like colors, we like pretty things. So we want to change the colors, we want to do all that. But that's really not the important part of the website. This is a little chart. It's not very scientific or anything, but it has pretty colors, so there's that. So this is the world of web development right here. And this is the world of web design. And I'm not saying that design is not an integral part of web development. I'm just saying it's only one component. And actually, Megan, if you were in her talk earlier today, I don't know if she's in here, but she was touching on that. She talked about, if it's good design, you don't even notice the design. And so there's this kind of debate that rages in WordPress. It's like form versus function. It's like, where should the prettiness be, and where should the action be? And should the prettiness be in the themes, or should the action be in the themes? Like, should your sliders come default with your themes? It's just like kind of this ongoing debate. But I like to use the actual words and their definitions. So form is basically what your site looks like, right? And then function is what your site does, how it functions. So, literal definitions there. So in the theme versus plugin debate, I fall squarely in the form is your theme, and the function is your plugin. That's what I feel. Now, you're going to get a lot of themes out there. I'm not going to name any culprits. I almost did. I totally almost did. But I'm not going to do that anymore, because I'm trying not to talk about specific companies in my talks. Okay, but there are a lot of theme companies out there that just throw every little functionality into it that you could ever think of. The problem is, if you ever want to change your theme, you lose all of that stuff. So all of the customization that you've been doing in your theme is gone. So then you're either chained to that theme for the rest of your life, or you have to sit there and cut and paste stuff out of it, or export something from a database or whatever. And the whole point of WordPress is to not do that. So, however, if you keep your functionalities in your plugins, then when you change your theme, you don't lose anything. Unless the plugin dies, but we're not going to talk about that. Oh, wait, yes we are. Because I'm going to tell you a story. Do you want to see that again? It's so much fun, right? The tale of social media widget. So there's this awesome plugin, and I say was. Sad. We should all have a moment of silence, but we don't have time for that. Okay, so I recommended it in all of my talks. I was recommending it all around the board, and now I feel like a tool for doing that, because what happened is this was a great plugin. Well, the developer was like, I'm going to sell this plugin. So the developer sold the plugin to a web development company that apparently didn't know how to code, whatever. So they outsourced the development of that plugin, right? Oh, and by the way, the social media widget plugin, what it would do is it would just pop up, you gotta have your Facebook icon, your Instagram icon, your Twitter icon, all that stuff. Well, it was just a really easy way to do that. It had all of the nice icons in there. It was customizable. It was super easy to use. So for beginners, they could easily just pop their logos in there. Done, which is what we're talking about here, the easy way. So they outsourced their coding, right? So they sent it out. And then they put it back, and it was in the WordPress repository, so it's, sanctioned by everything. Everything's all good. Turns out not so much, because the developer that they outsourced it to added code and added a little line of malware that basically said, oh, I'm going to inject some code, and what that's going to do is now link out. And, you know, they do that for like the search engine optimization points, or who knows why people do malware, I don't know. But so this plugin that I've been recommending to everybody has basically spam malware in the plugin that's now been installed on millions of websites and that everybody's using totally, you know, nonchalantly thinking that it's so great. So you need to be careful because plugins are software and they're not the same software as WordPress. It's, you know, it's like apps for your phone, and sometimes apps for your phone mess up your phone. You've all had this experience, I'm sure. It's like, oh, that update just failed miserably. It's the same exact thing. Like, so it's software and it's bringing software in and they're powerful and it's interacting with that. So you need to be careful about that. All right, speaking of being careful, we're going to talk about step 3, which, by the way, is not themes. I have 10 minutes left. Are you kidding me? Good Lord. All right, whatever. We're going to go even faster now. All right, keep calm and protect your neck. Why do you need to do that? You need some security on your site. This is very important. So before you install your theme, I'm going to put these all up at some point, hopefully later today, so you guys don't have to write all this stuff down, and I can talk faster. Okay, so WordFence security is a great one. Security, WordPress security, limit login attempts. That would defeat the whole brute login. They can't log in all the time, that sort of a thing. This is an example. This is a free version of WordFence, and it basically scans all your files and makes sure that nothing is in there and nothing's going on. Awesome, because what's better than someone already pre-screening your stuff for you all the time so you don't have to think about it? Not to like promote Chris Lemma again, but he did just write an article on how you should use, was it strong passwords? Yeah. Oh, it was on strong passwords. But you should also use security plugins. All right. You also need to back up, okay? If you are putting all of this time and effort into customizing your site, into blogging, or writing your content, or describing your products, guess what? You don't really want to lose that. So before you write anything, you need to install a backup plugin. I personally really like WordPress backup to Dropbox. It's free. So is Dropbox. You connect the two. It backs up your database, backs up your images. Some backup programs only back up your database. And you try to restore from your database and all your images are gone. Well, guess what? Those are kind of an important part of your website. So you need to use something that backs all that up. These two, VaultPress and Backup Buddy, are both premium plugins. VaultPress is from WordPress, from Automatic, so it's definitely good. Super easy to use, one-click restores, but they're money, so, you know, depending on where you're at. This is the WordPress backup to Dropbox. You install it, you authorize it, boom. All of a sudden, it just backs up. You can set if you want it to be weekly, daily, and you can do manual ones too. So if you spend a whole day putting a lot of hard work into it, you can just back it up, just like that. So, now what? Themes, more themes, buy a theme, go customize your theme. No, we're not going to do that again. Or actually, nuh-uh is that one. Nuh-uh. It's not what we're going to do. All right, step 4 is bacon. Yes, I was waiting for that. I was like, and? Bacon is in, guys. Okay, you know this. You need to make some meat. That sounds kind of weird. Also, I'm a vegetarian, so in my case, it'd be kale. But, you know, whatever. Whatever that is, you need to make some of the meat of your site. Because why? Content is the only reason anyone is going to any website ever. Ever. Let that sink in, okay? They don't care what it looks like. And if you don't believe me, ask Craigslist. Guess what? It has a lot of information. Design? Not so much. It still has blue links for crying out loud. Like, they didn't do any customization here. Also, this site, heard of it? Wikipedia? Yeah, not a lot of design, but a lot of information. We all use it all the time. We will overlook the lack of design if there's actual useful stuff happening in the site. So yeah, pretty themes, whatever. Get the content going. Basic content for business websites, home. You need a home page. It needs to have a description of your business. Also, if you want people to call you, put your phone number. You'd be surprised how many people forget that. But you need a home page, an about page, and a contact page. That's the base meat of your site. And you can also have products, services, FAQs. People are really into FAQs. And of course, your blog. But those are the main ones. I'm going to kind of go through here quickly because, you know, she's scaring me. OK, so you got to add your home page. I just changed the sample page to the home page. Then you add some new pages. And then you get your home, your about, your contact. And boom, look at that. It's looking even nicer now, right? And I'm not doing anything with the theme. Haven't changed a single thing. I've got my home page. I've got my about page. I've got my contact page. Except my contact page is looking a little empty. And also, what the hell is that? That is really annoying. No one wants to comment on my contact page. Why would we want them to do that? OK, so let's fix that. Let's put a little form in there, because you know why? People like forms. They don't want to click your email address and then have to think of something to say. If they want to contact you, give them a prompt. Just let them fill in the form. People will fill in forms till the cows come home. They don't want to have you click the button or cut and paste so they can put it in their Gmail, or click the button and have the mail client that they don't use open and they have to close that. Yeah, try not to annoy your customers. So give them a form. These are some great ones. There's a lot. There's one in Jetpack 2, which just kind of works out of the box. I really like Contact Form 7, even though everyone says that it's terrible, whatever. But if you just, all you do is install it. It comes with a pre-made contact form. All you have to do is copy that short code right there, paste it into your thing, put a little like, contact me type deal, and look at that. Done. Contact form. That's all I did. Nothing else. So what about that comments box? Well, there are all these guys, right? I don't really recommend, if you're not actively blogging, if you're not at that point where your site's developed and you're not ready to go and you don't have all this stuff happening, don't bother with comments. Don't worry about getting that conversation started yet. We're talking about just getting the basics developed. So what I like to do is recommend just disable the comments. And there turns out this handy plugin called Disable Comments that will allow you to install stuff and just install it once, and you can disable the comments on the, I'm not listening to you anymore. There's that, so you do that. Okay, Kismet, really great. If you are going to do comments, you really need to have that. You just need it, or you need something like it where it will block the spam. Twitter comments is a great one where if anyone twitters about the link that your post is, it'll automatically show up in the comments. So that's super cool. And Jetpack has a whole bunch of commenty stuff as well. This is disable comments. You just check these three, and then boom, no more comment box. So now what? Themes. Are we talking about themes now? No siree, Bob. No, we are not. Step 5, widgets. All right, what are widgets? Well, widgets are thingamajigs. Unfortunately, thingamajigs, not like that. They're not that sort of thing. These are widgets right here. Widgets are basically little things that generally show up in the sidebar, sometimes in footers, sometimes in headers. Depends on your theme, because themes are fickle. But you've got this over here, right? You've got your recent posts and all that stuff. Well, you go to your widget section, and right here, so you've got recent posts, recent comments, archives, categories. Over here, you've got recent posts, recent comments, archives, categories. The same exact thing. This is the main sidebar. It's going to appear on posts and pages, you know? Tells you. You just got to read the stuff, too. It's very well documented, this WordPress thing. All right, so thank you, Shaban. Right, okay. Sorry, inside joke. Okay. Anyway, so you just take those out of there. You drag those out, literally just, drag and drop. And then let's say, for example, I wanted to add some text. Maybe this was about a sale for your business. In my case, the site's about bunnies, so it's a bit about bunnies. And then I put that in there, and then boom. Now I have a bit about bunnies on my site. Now we're really starting to look a little bit more like a website instead of a blog or instead of just a basic thing. So you've got a bit about bunnies. So if you wanted to have some really cool widgets that are just widgets, you've got something like called the image widget. Jetpack also has an image widget in it. Oh, that was fun to say. All right, BE subpages was made by this guy named Bill Erickson, hence the BE. And what that does is if you pull that little guy into your thing, it'll automatically show the subpages for any page. And if you're not on a subpage, or if there are no subpages, it won't show anything. Simple, easy. Then there's this awesome thing called Yelp Widget Pro, and that will show your awesome Yelp reviews if you have awesome Yelp reviews. If you don't put that in there. And also this cool one called Testimonials Widget. You put your testimonials in there, and it automatically does this cool little slider thing and will slide your testimonials around. People are really big into testimonials these days. It's like the new slider. All right, something to remember. Not all widgets are plugins. Some of them come default with the system, and some of them come with your theme. It's all sorts of crazy madness in there. And not all plugins have widgets. But, wait, sparkles. But widgets are often in a plugin, and plugins often have widgets. But they are not the same thing. Do not confuse the two. Okay? All right. So we've got widgets. Everyone's totally, right? Because I'm just speeding through this. So we totally have widgets down, no problem. Yes, 2 minutes. She says 2, he says 1. I believe her now. I like you more than Chris now. Awesome. All right, themes? Nope, not talking about themes. Step 6, make it work. Now, you can make this little black dress work just by itself, but if you accessorize it a little bit, now it's really going to pop, right? Maybe some red shoes, maybe a nice necklace. I'm talking mostly to the girls, obviously, but whatever. All right, more plugins, because that is what is going to make your site awesome. Plugins, if you recall from what we talked about earlier, plugins are what your site does. It's functionality. So what does an awesome website do? An awesome business website specifically. Well, you answer that question, what is your awesome website going to do? What does your business do? It's the same thing. So if you sell products, do you make products? Do you sell services? Do you provide your expertise and your awesomeness in general? Do you connect with your clients? Do you boost your SEO? Is that something you want to do with your site? That's search engine optimization, just FYI. Do you need to sell your services? Do you want to provide your expertise? I think that got mixed up. No, we're not going to worry about that. Okay, anyway, but guess what? There's a plugin for all of that. You just have to find the right plugin, and you have to read the documentation to make sure that you're not totally screwing yourself up and your site up. Because again, plugins are software. They're powerful things, which also mean they can be powerfully messing you up. So just be careful. Sometimes there's conflicts. They cause that whole white screen of death thing. You know, I often recommend people use a quick install development. You know, if you've got one over here and you've quick installed your live site, you've got it going on, well, just quick, I'm totally ignoring you. You just develop your other one over here and test stuff on your development site. You know, you don't have to be a developer to have a development site. Just set up another one and see if it breaks everything. And guess what? If it breaks everything on your development site, you're a lot happier than it broke everything on your live site and you're freaking out because your customers don't have a website anymore to go to. All right, so if you want to sell stuff, here's a list of these. WooCommerce is pretty much the industry standard right now. It's so easy to use, it's kind of ridiculous. You configure it until the cows come home. It's the second time I've used that in this presentation. Something about cows. Anyway, WooCommerce is great. It's free to start, and then you can add on different expandables if you want to have a UPS shipping module, or if you want to have a USPS shipping module, or you want to do crazy coupons. It can be really expanded like that. Share and be shared if you want to share your stuff, which you really need to do. Jetpack has a lot of options for all of these things, and it's made by Automatic, so it's not going to have crazy code in it. Sociable is one I really like for those little share buttons at the bottom of each of your posts. Simple social icons. You'll note that social media widget is no longer in this list. Instagrate is super cool. It actually takes your Instagram posts that you do and automatically creates posts with them and puts them into your feed. So if you're a baker or something like that, you're working with those people and you want to, you know, bring your Instagram stuff in, you can do that with Instagrate to WordPress is what that's called. Email marketing. There's a MailChimp widget. So if you want to have a little sign-up newsletter box right in the side, all you got to do is install that widget, put your credentials in, and boom. Drag your thing over, you've got a newsletter sign up that'll go directly to your MailChimp, whichever list you want. Same thing with Constant Contact. There's also this awesome plugin called WP Newsletter that's actually free that you can actually manage your mailing list from directly in your WordPress. You don't actually have to have MailChimp or Constant Contact. That one's super cool as well. And Jetpack also has a super cool thing called subscribe to posts, so people can subscribe and get in their email. They can get, you know, if you do a post, whatever that is. If there's search engine optimization, you've got WordPress SEO is basically the be-all, end-all of search engine optimization plugins. And then for extra credit, you've got Soliloquy, which is like a slider, the events calendar, which is, you know, an event calendar, FAQ manager, because FAQs are cool, simple lightbox, so when you click an image, it pops up an image, it's pretty like that type of thing. I'm almost done, I swear. And staying current. So if you're doing all this stuff and you're using plugins, you need to be on top of it, because if you had social media widget installed and you didn't know that there was a crazy web hack going on, or if you didn't know if your password was, or if your username was admin and you didn't know there was this crazy bot hack going on, then you're just kind of, you know, out of luck. But if you follow some of these things right here, and I put this one on here not just because I like to promote Chris, but he does a lot of reviews of plugins specifically and a lot of comparisons. For example, like membership sites. He's got one that's now like a classic, which is like compares all of the different membership if you want people to pay to get your stuff. So search out all these stuff. WP Daily does a weekly roundup, I think even a daily roundup of new plugins that came out, all that sort of information. So you need to stay on top of it if you're going to be doing these, especially if you're developing other people's sites. And it's even more important because you're now responsible for keeping their stuff current. So you can't just put your head in the sand and be like, yeah, I installed that, it's fine. You're now responsible for that. And of course, you need to read the docs. You need to read the docs. Read what people are saying when they comment about the site. If they say this developer never supports this, or this developer does support it, whatever it is, you need to know that stuff. So when you talk about themes, nope, we're not talking about themes, and in fact, we're kind of pretty much done. But I want to leave this with you, all right? Or leave you with this, whatever. When you're working with WordPress, especially when you're just starting, if you're not building the custom site, if you're not a developer and you're just working with these parts, you need to basically lower your expectations a little bit. You can do all of these things, but you may not exactly be able to have this exact thing over here, or this exact right color, or this exact right font, whatever it happens to be. So what your philosophy should be is, ask not what WordPress can do for you. You need to ask what you can do with WordPress. Thank you very much. All right.
Say read.
Thank you.
Say take one breath.
Look at it, 29:37.
That's awesome. Take one breath. I'm going to ask you to quickly tell people why themes is last.
Themes is last because, and actually that site that I made is up there, so you can go look at it if you want, because I believe with just the default theme right out of the box, you can build a totally amazing website. And design is not, I mean, I talked about that. It's not the reason people are coming to your website. If you have a small business, they're coming to your website to learn about your small business. They want to know where you're located. They want to know what you do. They want to see pictures of your products. You know, they're not going to be like, oh, this person doesn't have a slider. I'm totally not going to go to their business. They're going to be like, oh, this person doesn't have a contact page. I'm not going to their business. That's what they're going to judge you on. If the information they're looking for is there, they'll be forgiving about the design. And if you put up a theme with all these buckets of, you know, down here it's got this awesome thing and a blog over here, you have to fill in all of that information. And if you have to sit there and fill in all of that information, you're basically, and as small business owners, there is no time. There is no extra time. You're wearing every hat that there ever could be. So you need to make it easy on yourself. And that's why I brought Kennedy into the mix, because just work with it. You know what I mean? Don't try to force it to be exactly what you want it to be. You've got these tools. You've got a great tool set. And assemble what works for you. And really focus on your customers, because that's all that matters in the end. You know, you're not making a website for fun. You're making a website to support your business, to promote your business. That's the point. So focus on your business, the content of your business, and don't get so hung up about the themes.
One quick question.
Just one, and it better be good.
No, it better be excellent.
You're on the spot now.
To WordPress for the site, it says choose your name, okay, and then it says name cannot be changed. So you've put in admin, and now you're saying, whoops, shouldn't have that. Is there a way around it so we can get rid of admin and put a different name in?
Yes.
Good. What is it?
It involves going into the database. Hey. I was actually looking like 2 days ago if there was like some sort of plugin or something that could easily manually rename your admin for you. I haven't found anything yet. If you check my website or my Twitter, just follow me on Twitter, and at some point I will find some way to do that, or I will make one. But you basically have to go into your database and change some things around to delete that user, because you can't just make a new user and then delete it, because it won't let you do that because it's the #1 user. So it's a little bit of a problem, and if you just started, just do a fresh install. If you've already a live site, you know, you might need to call up some people. Yeah. Oh, and one thing to keep in mind, you do have to maintain stuff. So there are some services out there that are subscription-based where they will handle your backups. There's one called Maintain. It's kind of new that's out there, and it's some dollars a month or whatever that is, but they manage the backups. They'll do like little support tickets for you, little things like that. So if you were to call them and be like, you know, if you don't have a web developer, but you're here at WordCamp, which means that there's a WordPress community here. So you should really just find a developer that you can work with, that you can like call and be like, hey, can you do this little thing for me? And then, you know, maybe give them some cookies if you're a baker or whatever. I'm big into the bartering system. Or pay them with actual money. There's that too. But, you know, I work for cookies, so you can give me cookies. I'll fix it for you. Anyway, was that the question? Can we have just one more? This is only 33 minutes.
We're going to send you out into the hallway.
All right, you can all ask me questions in the hallway, and also I'll be at the after party, you know, so you can come there too.
Well, say awesome
bring your
or
laptops.
what? Let her know how awesome she was. Say read.
Thank you. Thank you.